I know.
So let's get into topic number two, which is kind of a true crime thing. Scott
Love it.
Peterson. Scott Peterson, the convicted murderer, has spoken out more than 20 years after the death of his wife, Lacey, and has once again come out and denied being the killer. I feel like this guy is kind of like a groundhog. Every so often he has to come out to see if his shadow is there and start, spouting off about I didn't do it, I didn't do it, and then he goes back under his little hole and we don't hear from him again for another couple of years. But this time it has been 20 years since Scott Peterson has seen his shadow, so I thought we would talk about that. For the first time in the more than 20 years since his arrest, for the 2002 murder of his wife, Lacey Peterson, Scott, who is currently behind bars at Mule Creek State Prison in Lone, California, is opening up in his new Peacock documentary, not his, but the new Peacock documentary, Face to Face with Scott Peterson. The three-part doc will see Peterson share his side of the story as he continues to deny his involvement in the murder of Lacey and their unborn son Connor, for which he was convicted. Claiming that police and prosecutors ignored significant leads and relied solely on circumstantial evidence, Peterson says police were steadfast in their quest to convict him, and only him, of double murder during his trial in 2004. It's crazy how that happens, Scott, when all the fucking evidence points to you.
Go
Go
figure.
figure that they were,
And it's gonna be so funny, watching this shit too. I don't know about anyone else, but me and Jackson, all we watch is this shit. Unfortunately, this is what we love so much. So we're gonna and all of them, not all of them, but there's a lot of them like where they show like the people that both sides of the story, and we're all gonna see this, and it's gonna be so painfully obvious. And I love how like these POS people come out thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna change this. You're making yourself look worse, and you're showing everything. And I can almost guarantee you that's how this is gonna
and
go.
I'm pretty sure I might be wrong here, and maybe our viewers can correct me if I am wrong. But I'm pretty sure Peacock is also the company that put together the recent Casey Anthony documentary, where she was essentially the main part of the documentary. So, as somebody like Katie just said, somebody who enjoys true crime documentaries, this is
You
tough for
always know
me.
at the end.
Yeah, but like this is tough. Like I love watching them, just like you just said. Like it's unfortunate that we do love them so much, and I think the reason why it is unfortunate is because somebody like Casey Anthony or Scott Peterson, some of these really allegedly bad people, get in front of cameras and shit, maybe making money off of this and all of that, and I feel bad about that for being a consumer, but at the same time, I love knowing what their side of the
Exactly.
story is, even if I
Like
think it's bullshit.
like Gypsy Rose, that's a great example too.
Exactly right. Gypsy Rose is a great example of that. And that's why a lot of times I enjoy the true crime specials that are not in participation with the person in question. In other words, Gypsy
Mhm.
has nothing to do with it, or Casey Anthony's not part of it, or Scott Peterson is not part of it. But at the same time, that personalized feel is important as well. It's
Yeah.
just it sucks as a consumer because I don't want to feel like I'm benefiting the bad guy or girl in any way. You know?
I just hope it doesn't come out to be a thing like Gypsy Rose. Like there's been a lot of people that are like, "Oh no, she's awesome."
Mm-hmm.
But and yeah, I mean that was so long ago, but at the same time, this is a person that did some pretty horrific things. We should
Yeah.
not be watching them on TikTok, watching them on YouTube, like enjoying them as a human being in general, personally. Um, but
I think
I
Gypsy
just don't.
Rose, not to defend her in any way, but I want the show to be an open and honest discussion. I think you and I
Mhm.
might disagree here a little bit. I'm not a fan of Gypsy Rose the person, but I'm
Mhm.
very familiar with the story, and she might not add up to where we're at with like Casey Anthony and Scott Peterson simply because, yeah, she was found guilty in a way, but we kind of know why what
Yeah.
happened, right? So some
Right.
some some
Have you
people actually
seen?
think that it's justified her killing of her mom, is what I mean.
No, yeah.
You know?
I kind of stayed out of it because the whole like premise in general doesn't make me sick, but it disgusts me to be honest. Um, to see like these horrible people just blow up out of
Yeah.
nowhere. But I I don't. It probably got taken down, but on Facebook there was a post, and in the comments it was like a Google Doc, and it was all of the crime scene photos from that, and I mean
Yeah.
not blurred or anything. When I
Hmm.
saw that, I was like, okay, yeah, no, not
So
anyone that can do that. I don't give a
yeah,
shit.
I'm not that kind of person either. Like when I run into that stuff, no, that's just there's some things that the public shouldn't be allowed to have access to.
I know. I saw
You
that,
know,
and there was like so many reactions to it. I was like, how is this on here and on Facebook?
I agree. Yep. And but there's a lot of people that are avid fans and consuming that kind of graphic evidence. I'm not one of them. Um,
No.
I can take
I
your
was
word
just
for it,
curious.
prosecutor. You know what I mean?
I cuz I had no really idea. I knew about the situation, but I didn't really know much about it. And that popped up. I was like, cuz I didn't think I was going to see the whole dead body and everything. I thought it was just going to be like, you know, here's this knife over here, here's
Mm-hmm.
this over, you know what I mean? No, it was horrific. Horrific.
So this story about Scott Peterson will be out on Peacock on August 20th. Again,
Tomorrow.
I don't know whether Scott is benefiting from this. I would hope that he's not, but at the same time, I don't know why the criminal themselves would be interested in being a part of the documentary unless they're getting something out of it. I mean,
Exactly.
obviously, this guy has been preaching his innocence for 22 years since it happened, and there's pretty strong evidence that he's not indeed innocent in this case. So
Mm.
um, I don't know why Casey Anthony and Scott Peterson and those types of people would be willing to do these interviews and stuff like that without money being involved. Um, and if there is money involved, I hope the documentation of documentary companies are at least maybe perhaps giving that money to charity instead of the bad guy or girl.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, I watched the Casey Anthony one when that came out against my better judgment, just because again I didn't want to support it. I did watch the whole thing, and it was just lie after lie after lie after lie
Yeah.
after lie. I mean,
And it's
it's
unfortunate because, like we talked about, it's why do you sign up to do this knowing damn well you're gonna look even worse?
yeah. Well, I
Like
mean,
you're after all this time, you think you're gonna come out looking innocent? My ass.
mhm. Well,
Like,
again, someone like her, she can't be tried again, right? So she could come out and just straight up tell the truth and say, "Yeah, I freaking, I asphyxiated her with a belt or whatever." She could say whatever she wants,
mm,
and there's nothing they can do about it.
no,
And she continues to lie. I don't understand it. But that's what documentaries are there for, is to document, and so you have to
yeah,
try to remember that. I do still feel guilty for consuming some of them. I don't know if I'll watch this one or not. We'll see. I probably will, to be fair. And to be honest, Peacock does a really good job as well with their
yeah,
documentaries.
hmm,
But yeah, Scott Peterson has crawled out from under his rock once again and still saying the same shit. So,
hmm.
gee. It sucks for the families because I'm sure they would like to know
And
what actually happened. Perhaps they wouldn't. I don't know.
that's
But
another point. They're gonna have to relive it, and
yeah,
everyone around them is gonna be like, "Hey, did you know about this? Hey, did you know about this? Hey, what about
yep.
this?"
And that's the unfortunate side of it too. Is every time these people open their mouths,
It
the
gets
the
relived.
extended victims are having to relive it over and over and over again. That's a good point. Yeah, very good point.